Welcome. Everyone that's following us on social media page or going to be listening to this on 88.6 FM, I have the honor today, and it truly is an honor because I have heard that this is his first interview here in the Kingdom of Tonga. So it's a true honor for me to have a LALINOA with His Excellency, the Ambassador, Mr. Liu Weimin. But before that, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here with me.
Thank you, Lala, for having me. Well, it's an honor to be able to come here for this interview. I've been watching your program for a long time.
I'm truly honored, yeah. Before we get into the questions, this is just a question just to warm you up. Mm-hmm. How you like it here in the Kingdom of Tonga?
Well, it's my first time
Yes.
to be posted to this region.
Yes.
But of course, I'm not a stranger to this region. I think almost 14 years ago, I was able to travel to Samoa. That was my first trip to South Pacific, and I was very impressive. And ever since my arrival here in Tonga, since last April, I think my impression is much deeper because I'm able to watch on the ground and have this first-hand experiences. I must say that I enjoy my stay here, and I think it's a very unique experience in my diplomatic career.
Yes. Ambassador, I know it's been 14 years in between Samoa and Tonga, but I just wanted to know, and I know the Tongans out there want to know, which is the better stay, Tonga or Samoa?
Well, both of them.
Both of them. Yeah, very good.
That's right. Because I think every Pacific Island country has its unique distinction, which deserve, better observation. And I really, encourage the Chinese people, not just the Chinese tourists, to come over here to watch themselves and to enjoy the goodwill of the people in this region.
We'll get into why I've asked you to be here with me. And my first question towards this is the third China-Pacific Island country foreign ministers meeting was successfully held several days ago. Can you brief us on the meeting and its outcome? How does China view the development prospect of the relations between China and Pacific Island countries?
Well, thank you for the question. And I think this year is a very significant year for China-Pacific Island countries' relations because it marks the 50th anniversary of China beginning to establish diplomatic ties with Pacific Island countries, among which probably Samoa, as you just mentioned, and Pacific were two of the first group of Pacific Island countries establishing diplomatic ties with China. So I think the convening of the China-Pacific Island countries foreign ministers meeting on this occasion is of particular significance. And as to the outcome of this foreign ministers meeting, I have several observations. First of all, China reiterated its policy towards Pacific Island countries, namely the fully respects China fully respects the independence and sovereignty of Pacific Island countries, fully respects the will of the island countries, fully respect the ethnic cultural traditions of this region, and fully respects the efforts of the Pacific Island countries to seek strength through unity. So that's our fully respect policy, and that was put forward by our President Xi Jinping. And we also have another three policies. First one is no political strings attached to China's assistance to this region. Second, no imposing China's will on other countries in this region. And thirdly, I think we respect the autonomy of the countries in this region. And another three is, of course, appeal to other countries that which are also keen to develop relations with this region. We hope that all countries can respect the autonomy of island countries when taking decisions. And secondly, all countries should stay open and inclusive. And another one, of course, is that we hope that all countries can prioritize development agenda as the most urgent thing for this region. So these are our 4-3-3 policies towards Pacific Island countries. So in this meeting, that were reiterated, and that was very much appreciated and supported by the Pacific Island countries. And secondly, I think the island countries, they all appreciate the initiatives put forward by the Chinese side, namely the building of community with a shared future for mankind. The three global initiatives, the three major global initiatives put forward by China, namely the Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative, is not just about traditional security, but also, and in particular, on the importance of non-traditional ones, such as climate change and pandemic. And the third major initiative is the Global Civilization Initiative. We call for dialogue among, different civilizations, which we think probably in this world is fundamentally important, so that people can increase mutual understanding and to reduce the trust deficit, so as to ease the tension, internationally, and put each other on other people's feet. That's very important. So I think all these initiatives are appreciated by the Pacific Island countries. And what's more, of course, the Belt and Road Initiative put forward by China. We all agree that this Belt and Road Initiative, we will move forward the Belt and Road Initiative and make it align with the Blue Pacific Continent 2050 strategy. I think these two initiatives should have a better synergy with each other. So this is second outcome, I think. And the third one, of course, we all agree that China-Pacific relations are mutually beneficial. It is not aimed at the third parties, so it should not be constrained by third parties. The bilateral relations, cooperation between the two sides are transparent, and from our perspective, we are open for collaboration with third parties. And those countries which might have a traditional interest or influence in this region, we're happy to see that invest more for the development of the local countries in this region. And we are keen to collaborate with them. I think probably better collaboration or a kind of multilateral collaboration probably will have a better effect on the long-term development of this region. So this is the third point. And fourth one, of course, we don't forget the climate change,
yes,
which is a existential threat to the Pacific Island countries. So I think in this meeting, this issue was high on the agenda. And I think from the Chinese side, we put forward a cooperation initiative. We released a cooperation initiative promising to offer $2 million to the region's efforts to deal with climate change. And in the next 3 years, China offers to implement, 100 small but beautiful projects which are related to, the climate change issues at the grass levels. Because I think the communities, the local villages probably are the most vulnerable part in this country and beyond. So this is an important issue, high on the agenda. And of course, the fifth one, both sides agreed to extend our practical collaborations on, agriculture, fishery industries, on trade and investment, on education, on public health, you name it, infrastructure, and also sports and cultural, exchanges. I think in China, we established 7 platforms which are designed for the strengthening of practical collaboration between China and the Pacific Island countries, namely the emergency supply reserve, disaster risk management, poverty alleviation and development, agriculture, and I think climate change, yes, is always high on the agenda. And of course, last but not least, police training. So we have altogether 7 platforms which are established in China. And they are specifically for the collaboration between China and Pacific Island countries. So the 2 sides at this meeting agreed to take full advantage of those 7 cooperation centers or platforms to move forward our collaboration. So these are, I think, there are a lot of other outcomes in this meeting. So I would invite those people who are interested in the China-Pacific Island relations to watch the messages on our Facebook. I think everything about the meeting was there. So this is basically the outcomes that I want to mention here.
Mr. Ambassador, you spoke about respect and you spoke about collaboration. A sign of respect from the Kingdom of Tonga is the visit that you guys got in China. And that goes into my next question. His Royal Highness Crown Prince Tupoutoʻa ʻUlukalala, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Minister of His Majesty's Armed Forces, attended the 3rd China-Pacific Island country foreign ministers meeting and held bilateral meetings with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi.
Yes,
During his stay in China, the Crown Prince also visited Shandong Province. How do you comment on the Crown Prince visit to China, and how will it promote the development of China-Tonga relations?
Well, thank you. That's a very important visit between our, 2 countries. That was the first time, the second time, sorry.
Yes.
That the Crown Prince visited China. And the first time to visit China as Foreign Minister, first time to meet our Foreign Minister in Fujian Province. And I think it's the first time for him to join the China-Pacific Island countries Foreign Ministers meeting. So I think that's a very significant visit for both China and Tonga. And when he was in Shandong,
Yes.
As you just mentioned, he also witnessed the signing of the sister city relationship document between Vava'u and Liaocheng city of Shandong province. So that's another milestone in terms of our local collaboration. And of course, the country-to-country relations as a whole. And he also visited the Liaocheng city, which is the sister city of Vava'u, where he promoted the exchanges and collaboration between Liaocheng and Tonga, specifically on the sectors of climate change. Because, by the way, the Climate Change Cooperation Center is established in Liaocheng City. You still remember the 7 platforms. One of them is the Climate Change Collaboration Center, and that is in Liaocheng City. So he went there to facilitate the climate change collaboration, as well as the collaboration on education and public health. And I think I'm happy to see that the governor of Vava'u, as well as the Minister of Health, Anna, they were all there together with the Crown Prince So I think this trip has further, facilitated the bilateral relations between our two countries. I think it gives more impetus. And what's more, of course, when he was in the bilateral meeting between him and our foreign minister, I think he was impressive about China's policy towards the Pacific Island countries. Now, China and Tonga and other Pacific Island countries, we are all in the South, the global South. Right? This is an important, a force internationally. So we need to have more collaboration on that. And Tonga-China relations are a good model of that relationship. At this moment, I think both of our two countries are at a very critical stage of development. You know, China is very much involved in moving forward the what we call Chinese-style modernization. And Tonga, of course, is at the beginning of the next 10 years development. You've just, I attended the National Development Summit, where, the development strategy framework for the next 10 years was very often mentioned, and I know the government is formulating that document. So Tonga is actually also at a very critical juncture of development. So the bilateral relations between us will obviously bring benefits to both of our countries' development. That's very important. And secondly, of course, we've got a very strong basis here. I think on many sectors, we have already had very good collaboration with each other. To name just a few, for example, on education, yes, which we just mentioned. China offered about 4,000 scholarships to Tongan students. Many of them already came back to Tonga, and I actually came across a lot of people who can speak Mandarin. Yes. So I always remind my colleagues that, well, don't say bad things. they speak Mandarin. Yeah. Right.
It's going to be the language
but
of the world.
But of course, it's always good things. No bad things. So and also I think we offer about 1,500 people for joining the programs in China. That's for kind of a capacity building training programs. On Medicare, we have a medical team. That's the 5th batch of a medical team. That has been here since, I think, at least 7 or 8 years. But of course, they change, right? For this particular team here, which is right now, I think they have reached out to all the outer islands. They don't just stay here in Tonga-Tabou. They reach out to all the outer islands. I was actually with them in Babau, in Ewa. We were together there, and I'm so pleased that they offer the free medical service to the local communities and the villages. So this is very encouraging. And altogether, I think they have already, this 5th batch medical team, they have treated about 3,000 patients in this country. Agriculture is another area where we have a very good collaboration. We have 2 agricultural teams here. One is based in the main island. The other one is in Babau. And I think they all contributed to the local economic development. They offer more vegetables, and they introduce the biogas, which is kind of a new energy, right? Yes, okay. And they also introduce the building of piggeries. And these are all good for the improvement of the incomes of the, average household, the villagers there, right? And I understand they also trained the local villagers for about, they have trained 9,000 people for this team. So this is a good collaboration. And on climate change is always on the agenda. Climate change and energy transformation. I think probably you can see the wind farm project in eastern part of Tonga, the main island. They are now in full operation. I was told that they can, the project can generate 3.61 gigawatts hour of electricity annually. I'm not a specialist on this, of course.
That sounds
but
like
I think
a lot
that's
of power.
an encouraging number because it accounts 6.7% of the total generation of electricity in this country. And it will accommodate 5,000 households. Put it, 4 people in each family. So that's about 20,000 people who can benefit from the wind farm project. And I think it's also helpful to the fulfillment of Tonga's target of getting, say 70% of renewable energy by 2030. I think that's a contribution to this target. So this is about climate change and, of course, culture. I think culture is very important. China and Tonga, we are all proud countries with very rich civilizations. And I think before I came here, I read some books about Tonga. And I was astonished that Tonga actually has about a long history of about 3,000 years. So almost 3,000 years ago, there were people living in this island. So that's amazing. And I think the cultural things, cultural exchanges are very important because that will make us, not just, collaborators, but also brothers and sisters, like the families. So we need to probably do more in this area so that we can facilitate our mutual understanding. I actually think that probably we can do some joint archaeology and research on the cultures of, say, Polynesian culture.
Yes.
And we've got a museum in Fujian province where the foreign ministers' meeting was hosted. It's specifically about the Austronesian culture. And I think Polynesian culture is one very important part of that. So that museum and the museum here, I think they actually can do some research together. We were told that probably people, Polynesian people, they actually came from Asia, right? Probably China. We need to have more research. We will find out. Yes, so that's a very interesting area where we can collaborate further. But of course, the cultural heritages. I understand there are Tongan people are very good at dancing.
Yes.
That one of the dance, the laka, became actually the world heritage.
Yes.
So in China, we also have a lot of this kind of world heritage, visible or invisible. So I think this is area where we can further our collaboration. So I firmly believe that the potential is great. It is good. So we need to, go further based on all these high-level visits, high-level events. That's a very strong impetus for us.
Mr. Ambassador, talking about relationships, in the joint statement of the third China-Pacific Islands country foreign ministers meeting, the Pacific Island countries recognize that there is but one China in the world, and Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's tariff. What is your comment on this? Why is Taiwan question at the core of China's core interests? Well,
Taiwan issue is, of course, is a very important issue for China's relations with the international communities, with other countries. It's a kind of a political foundation for us to strengthen the bilateral relations. So it's no exception in this part of the world. I think in this meeting, the 11 island countries which participated in the meeting, they all reiterated their one China principle. I mean, which of course is there is only one China. Taiwan is one inedible part of China, and the government of the People's Republic of China is the sole legal government representing the whole China. But I think in this meeting, they go beyond this. I think they all oppose the Taiwan independence in any form, and they all support China's efforts to reunify this country. And this is great. And I think the authority of the United Nations General Assembly 2758, the authority was emphasized. I think there is no room, to challenge this UN 2758 resolution. So I think we appreciate that. We appreciate the strong support of the island countries on this very important issue. That's probably more significant this year than in other years, because this year, of course, marks the 20th anniversary of the victory of the Second World War, including the Pacific War here. And it also marks the 80th anniversary of Taiwan returning to the motherland, because it was ceded to Japan before, I think probably in 1895 something. It was occupied by Japan for almost 50 years. So on the occasion of the victory of the Second World War, China proudly, retake Taiwan. So that's a very joyful moment for the entire Chinese, including the Taiwanese people at the time. So I think Taiwan is one part of China. Is actually a very important outcome of the Second World War victory, and it constitutes a very important part of the post-war international order. To challenge this principle is to challenge the post-World War international order, and is to deny the outcome of the victory of the Second World War. And I think we're happy to see that One China principle actually becomes international, norms governing, international relations. Look at, the entire world. We now have 183 countries which recognize One China principle and establish diplomatic ties with China. Nauru being the last one last year. And I'm sure the list will act. The list will increase. The list of the countries that which support One China policy will further increase. That's kind of a world trend. No one can stop that. But I think it's all equally important that you just mentioned that it's the core interest of China. I think that's the same with other countries when it comes to sovereignty and territorial integrity. Is the most important thing for every country in the world, including Tonga. Right? Every country cherishes its own independence and territorial integrity. No one can compromise on this very important, territorial integrity issue, right? So that's, but so far, unfortunately, China is probably, I think it's the only country in the 5 permanent members of the Security Council of the United Nations that is yet to be reunified. That's unfortunate. And Taiwan still remains a question. That's a legacy of the civil war between, the two sides. And we always hope we try our best to, resolve this issue in a peaceful way. But that also requires the goodwill from the opposite side. there are some countries in the world that, probably out of their, political agenda, they try to play this Taiwan card
Yes.
to deter, the reunification of China, to deter the development of China. So this is a very good card for them. They might think that, but I think when it comes to our sovereignty, our territorial integrity, we don't have any room for compromise. And I think there is no room allowed for that kind of intervention on this Taiwan question. So we appreciate that the majority, the overwhelming majority countries in the world recognizes the importance of this particular question, and they all stick to this One China principle, or One China policy. For us, I think it's almost the same. And I'm also happy to say that the overwhelming majority of Chinese people, it is their strong aspiration to reunify this country, to reunify the two sides across the Taiwan Straits. There might be some minority people in Taiwan who want to, proclaim Taiwan independence, who are, actually the separatists. But the entire 1.4 Chinese people, the overwhelming majority, they are for, reunification. That's a fact, right? So another thing I want to mention is that Taiwan, of course, the issue still stands there in a way to further our relations between China and Pacific Island countries. Those are 11 countries which have diplomatic ties with China. They are against, this kind of intention, and we hope that this issue, which is PIF Forum leaders meeting related, could be resolved once and for all, so that we can focus our attention on the development and security of this region, on how we can, further our collaboration with the Pacific Island countries. That's what we need to do, and we need to, remove this trouble from the agenda. Thank you.
Mr. Ambassador, I have another question with the joint statement. On point 1 of the joint statement, discuss the positive in China-Pacific relations in recent years. Can you elaborate on the progression of the China-Tonga relations?
Mm-hmm. Well, as I said just now, I think the China-Tonga relations are in very good shape. It has been in a kind of upward movement, a very stable upward movement. And I think that's, of course, first of all, due to the strategic guidance of our two leaders, His Majesty the King and Chinese President Xi Jinping. And I think His Majesty paid a state visit to China in 2018. That was 7 years ago. And he also had a telephone conversation with President Xi during the pandemic. And all this, conversation between the head of states, I think, are a very big boost to the bilateral relations. Secondly, of course, the two sides have kind of practical needs to move forward the relations. I mentioned a lot of areas where we have already conducted in-depth collaboration and exchanges. That's good for China. It's a two-way traffic. It's not just good for Tonga, but it's also good for China, right? I think this kind of practical operations, we all get benefits from this benefit, and we will further taste the fruits out of this kind of further collaborations. And what's more, I think China is now a major country in the world, and we are now able to shoulder more responsibilities and obligations in the world. Because we were poor. I mean, 40 or 50 years ago, we were not able to contribute to the development of other regions, other countries. But now China is much stronger. So we are able to offer more help to the development of the developing countries, global South countries. So that's why we want to contribute, we want to offer assistance, foreign aid to the developing countries. We used to benefit from this kind of developments offered by the developed countries. We benefited from that. And so we believe we are now in a better position to offer that kind of a help to other developing countries, be it in Africa, in Latin America, in our immediate neighborhood in Southeast Asia countries, or in Pacific. I think this is a responsible attitude that demonstrated by China to offer more help to the developing countries, and we will continue to do that. We hope we can collaborate with other developed countries in terms of the assistance of developing countries, and we are open for multilateral or trilateral or multilateral collaborations with them. And I think nowadays the concept of a backyard or the sphere of influence, I think they are all outdated, right? So it is 21st century, right? It's not the colonial years. So I mean, everybody can offer their help. And everybody, I think, can collaborate with each other to offer that help.
Next question is, Chinese retail stores are everywhere in Tonga, which brought convenience to the Tongan people. But there is also a view in the public discourse that it hampers the development of local Tongan enterprises and affects the country's economy and stability development. What are your views on this matter?
Well, thank you. I'm glad that you raised this question. And obviously, that's a kind of a misunderstanding.
Yes.
And first of all, the Chinese community has been conducting the business here for quite a long time. Many of them are already Tongans with Tongan passports. Don't forget that. And we are happy that many of them are integrated.
With Tongan wives.
With Tongan wives, yes. That's good news. So they are already Tongans. They are conducting the business not just for themselves, but for the local, development. I think they have contributed to the import and export industry, agriculture, construction, and perhaps the retailer industry. They have contributed their part. As you say, those kind of contributions offer a lot of convenience to the local people, and beyond that, I think they help to stabilize the price here. Right, and I think most of the items or the objects of the goods in the retailer shops run by the Chinese community. They are very cheap. They are competitive, I should say. So they stabilize the price, and they ensure the stable supply of goods that are needed here in this country, and they enrich the choices in the market. And what's more, I think they help to facilitate the local industries, which is also very important. So this is, first of all, they have contributed a lot to the local development. And the business run by the Chinese community, they become an integral part of the local economic system, right? Secondly, I think they've been trying very hard to be integrated into the local society and to contribute to the local society, to play their, to offer their social responsibility. And that's already demonstrated by the active contribution of the Chinese community here on the occasion of the tsunami, the volcano eruption and the tsunami. So these are just a few cases that showing that they want to play their, social responsibility role in this country. And I think they are doing more and more, perhaps, charitable works here in Tonga, and being involved in the social activities in the local community or the local villages. And I think that's a good thing. We encourage them to do so. And thirdly, I think these people, overwhelming majority of these people, they are law-abiding. They follow the local laws and regulations, and what's more, the customs and traditions. That's which is important. For example, the Sunday Sabbath. I think this is a very unique regulation in the world. I have to say, because it's first time for me to experience this kind of a Sunday Sabbath. Even in Europe, in the United States, they don't do that. But here, I think that's a very unique regulation. But once the regulation is there, you need to follow that, and that's what we encourage the Chinese people to do. And I think most of them, they follow that regulation. Maybe there are some complaints that some retailer shops are open on Sunday. I'm not sure, but I was told that sometimes it was just at the request of the local villagers. They asked them to open up a following one. Yes, but anyway, I think probably that's against the regulation. They need to follow that regulation. So we encourage them to be integrated into the society. That's one of the job of the embassy, to encourage them to be integrated to the local society and to contribute to the local development and to follow up with the local laws and regulations. And I hope that people can have a fair and square observation on this particular issue. I think most of the Chinese people, they are hardworking people. They want to have, good relations with their neighborhoods, and they want to be part of this country.
Talking about trade, Mr. Ambassador, the U.S. imposed a high tariff on the global trading partners, severely impacting the global economy. China has taken a countermeasure. I also understand that China and the U.S. reached positive common understanding at the economy and trade meeting in Geneva. Pacific Island countries, including Tonga, having expressed concerns to the U.S. and the hope to find a solution within the 90 days suspension of the tariff. How do you view the tariff war initiated by the United States? And against this backdrop, what measure will China take to promote economy and trade cooperation in the Pacific Island countries?
Well, of course, that issue is still undergoing, right? Although we have managed to make a deal, make a compromise agreement with the United States, but I am not sure, guys, because there are so many uncertainties and it's so unpredictable. The world has become, which is, I think, unfortunate. But I did try to understand the logics of the U.S. administration to impose the tariffs on perhaps every single country in the world.
Yes.
Right. But China, of course, being the largest target. But I found that there was no logic at all. The traditional wisdom, traditional theory don't work anymore. So I gave up the effort to try to understand their concern and their logics. And I think this is kind of unilateral action, a kind of economic bullying. I mean, America first doesn't mean that other countries' interests should be compromised, should be undermined. I think there is always a solution to reach, or consensus to reach, so that everybody can benefit. I understand every country has its own concerns, has its own problems to resolve. But you don't make the gain at the expense of other countries' interests. That's not the best way, and it's not going to be sustainable. So the best way is always to talk with each other and to find a solution, to reach a compromise, right? Trade war, tariff war, nobody gains from that trade war or tariff war. Everybody suffers. Everybody, that's a kind of a lose-lose situation. It's not alone, say, win-win, situation. That's going to be lose-lose. So I just cannot understand the logic, but can only say that this is a unilateral economic bullying that we need to, fight against. Secondly, I think China stands up to this kind of a unilateral, this kind of abuse of tariff, not just for our own interest. Of course, that's important. Our interest should be safeguarded. But I think it's also for the international community. If this kind of rules of jungle prevail, might is right prevail, everybody suffers again. We are going to return to the old ages, right? So we don't believe that should be the case in the 21st century, and that's why China stood up against that tariff. And I think probably that's one of the reasons that the U.S. administration gave a 90-day pause on the tariff on other countries. And it's a I think it's a movement to defend the multilateral trading system in the world, which is, established by the U.S. itself, probably at the first beginning. But unfortunately, they are now, they don't believe that the multilateral trading system anymore. That's unfortunate. And thirdly, I think this kind of abuse of war has a particular, devastating impact on small developing countries, including the Pacific Island countries. Because, Pacific Island countries, you were imposed, tariff. Basic line is 10%, right? Fiji, 32%, and other countries, some other countries, 30%. And I don't know how they figure this out. This number is sometimes I'm interested to see. Perhaps President Donald Trump doesn't have good economic advisors or trade advisors. But anyway, this will have a very negative impact on those small developing countries, whose economic structure is not that complicated, right? It's and which are also kind of import reliant. So we believe that this kind of disruption of supply chain will ultimately lead to the negative impacts on the Pacific Island countries, and that's why we are happy to see that island countries, you also stand up to express your concerns bilaterally or through the forum, the PIF forum, and I think that's the way to deal with this kind of abuse of a tariff. I think probably China and other countries, including other European countries, Canada. I mean, we are all victims of this abuse of tariff, and island countries. We need to stand together to make it clear that this kind of act, this kind of a bullying is not acceptable. The only solution is the kind of in-depth conversations between parties. That's the only way. And last but not least, of course, I think U.S., of course, is the only superpower in the world. It's the superpower in terms of trade. But we can survive, even if, I mean, when we come to the worst scenario, that the import and export were to be cut off. I mean, U.S. trade only accounts 15% of the total world trade volume. I think if other countries can work together and help each other and expand our bilateral trade or trades between regions, I think that will be a very good, compensation to counter. I think this kind of abuse of tariff, and that's why we believe that based on current bilateral trade volumes, which is, I think last year China Pacific Island countries trade volume reached 6.3 billion US dollars. That was a large increase from 1991. I still remember the figure of 1992, which was 1.5 only. So it's a kind of a annual increase of 13%. And the trend now is 30 times more than when we were at the level of 1992. So I think there is still a large space for China and Pacific Island countries to increase the trade. And we know, island countries, you have many unique products. I mean, kava as an example, right? And now kava is probably mainly exported to US, Australia, New Zealand. But what if we think about Asian market, Chinese market, right? Right now, probably the production is a problem. But I think there is still potential. Because kava, in China, we have a kind of a traditional Chinese medicine. And kava is a kind of a herbal drink. So I don't believe it's difficult for Asian people to accept that. So there is potential there, right? So the kava is just an example. There are other unique products produced in this region, which could be exported to Asian markets, including Chinese market. So we need to explore how we can increase bilateral trade between China and Tonga. And I think right now is a very small number. I think it's about probably 70 million, no more than 70 million US dollars. So we do have a lot of potential. So we can also explore the bilateral free trade agreement, which obviously can facilitate the trade, the two-way flowing of the trade. So this is something that we also want to explore with Tonga. But in any way, I think it's a bad thing for the U.S. to impose a tariff war. But if the international community can stand up together and to work together, I'm sure the multilateral trading system, which is of course based on the WTO rules, can be maintained, right? No single country is allowed to sabotage this system, which of course need to be improved, but I think it still works, right? So probably, but we will see how the situations develop because right now it is still undergoing.
Yeah.
I hope the situations will be improved, but we are also prepared we will work for the best, but we are also prepared for the worst scenarios.
Mr. Ambassador, my last question for you today is there's a trend going around, and I know some media outlets have reported on this as well. And the report is the loan provided by China to Tonga, and the debt obviously from Tonga to China may compress Tonga's sovereignty. What are your comments on this?
Well, I think that's a kind of exaggeration of this particular issue. First of all, we shouldn't forget that it was China which lended the helping hand when Tonga was in trouble. I mean, at the beginning of this century, to ease its economic pressure at that time. So we of course would love to see that other countries can also help to lend some money, but it was only China which did the help at that time. So this is first of all, and secondly, I think it's not unusual to borrow from other countries for, of course, moderately. You need to have a kind of assessment of how much you can borrow. But it's not unusual to borrow money. The World Bank, IMF, ADB, they all do this, right? By providing the concessional loans to the developing countries. So this is, I mean, a common practice that we need to bear in mind. And thirdly, of course, we understand the concerns and the difficulties of Tonga to repay the concessional loans, which is, I think, was very low. I'm not sure about the exact number, but it was probably 2% something, right? The other day, I just read the news that the government is trying to collect some kind of local bonds to offer help to the private sector. And I think the interest rate is almost the same, 2 to 3%, much lower than the commercial loans, right? So this is something we have to bear in mind to accommodate Tonga's concerns and difficulties. So that's why we work with Tonga to postpone the repayment of the loan bilaterally as well as multilaterally in the framework of G20 debt alleviation initiative. There is a kind of a G20 debt alleviation initiative. So we, Tonga and China, we reached an agreement in that framework to postpone, to relieve the debt pressure for Tonga. And that shows that we understand the concern and we try to accommodate. We have tried our best to accommodate the concern. And I'm happy to see that, of course, in recent years, Tonga, began to repay the loans. And given that its economy probably is gradually coming back on the right track. And fourthly, I think there is a lot of benefits coming out of these loans. I mean, China gave 3 loans to Tonga. One of them is, of course, the International Dateline Hotel.
Yes.
People tend to forget that. They all focus on the CBD, right?
Yes, yes.
CBD is just one of the 3 loans. I think this hotel probably is among the best in this country, and it helped a lot to facilitate the tourism in this country. And that concession loan was repaid fully. That was done. And Gunnar Wharf.
Yeah.
Gunnar Wharf is another, example that this country benefits from the Chinese concessional loans. A lot of ships, I think, are docked there. Even, the cruise ship, they come regularly now. We're happy to see that the cruise ships are coming back to Tonga. And we believe that that will be helpful to the economy, to the local economy. Another loan is about the upgrading of the national roads. Obviously, that's I think people again benefit a lot from the roads upgrading improvements. In China, we have a saying that if you want to get rich, you need to build the road first. That's what we believe, and that's what we did in China. You need to have the infrastructure there first, so that the economy can develop on the basis of that. So I think Tonga also benefited from that project, the road update. So in general, I think people should have a fair and objective and balanced attitude towards this debt issue. I mean, it's never China's intention to create a what's so-called a debt trap. I think that's a kind of it's not just a misunderstanding. It's a distortion. It has a political agenda behind that kind of saying. That was never China's intention.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for being with me.
Thank you so much for inviting me here. And I know there are stronger interests on China.
Yes.
People would love to see how China develop and how China can help in this region, in this country. And I will be more than happy and to come over here again to answer people's questions and to address the concerns they might have. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. And from a personal note, thank you for choosing me to be your first interview here in Tonga. And no doubt there'll be many more to come your way. And I'm glad to say that I'm your first, and thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm proud of that.
Yeah, I'm proud of it too. And to everyone that listened to this interview, and that was His Excellency, the Ambassador, Mr. Liu Weimin, of China, the Ambassador of China, and there was an interview that we had, or LALINOA that we had. Hopefully the answer that was given today answers the questions that you've all had when it comes to China. Malo.